You're listening to Post-Dramatic Stress, hosted by Charlotte D. A weekly podcast to connect creatives and communicate about the highs, lows and laughs of being in a creative industry. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Post-Dramatic Stress. I am joined today by two very special guests who I will introduce very shortly. But today we're hoping to talk about an overarching theme of connection and feeling connected to your creative work, feeling connected to like-minded networks for support, and knowing when to say no for reasons like mental rest or artistic choice, perhaps in your best interest. So with that said, people who are joining me today to talk about all things connection are Sian Lucas and Emerson Brophy. Not Brosi, Brophy. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Sian, I might start with you with your introduction. So Sian has been acting in theatre and film and television productions for about 15 years, I believe. She's performed with a number of community and independent theatre companies in Perth. She's appeared in several films, and as a teenager, Sian participated in the creation of a youth theatre company that she trained, performed and worked with for several years. And in any time that she has left, she's also a speech pathologist.
Yes, I am.
Welcome. And Emerson Brophy is an actor as well. He is a singer, he is a musician, he is one of those people that seems to be ridiculously talented and can play piano, ukulele and saxophone. He's in a band called King and Castle, and he's got most experience in dramatic and musical theatre, but at the moment he's currently branching into film, and in particular has just been accepted, very excitingly, into WAPA to do a diploma of screen performance.
That's me.
Which is excellent. So guys, I always like to start with people being able to get to know you a little bit, and in particular, what do you feel makes you creative, or why do you feel the need to express yourself creatively? So maybe Emerson, let's start with you.
Yeah, I don't know, it's one of those things that's kind of just crept up on me over time. It was always a hobby through school to just sort of write songs and just be a bit of a goofball around the oval and stuff. But then, as I started doing more and more with my studies and that side of life, I found that I needed to keep up that balance of creative work to keep up my sanity, basically, and the kind of left brain, right brain situation. So that's why I really enjoy performing and writing songs and that kind of stuff, and I feel the need to do it more and more, and everyone enjoys art in some way, shape or form, so if I can do a little something to bring more of that to the world, then you're gonna might as well.
You're lucky it started young for you then. It took me years to realise I needed to be creative. Like I always was, but it wasn't until I worked in an office when I was in my 20s, I sound really old now, but at the end of my 20s that I was like, no, I can't do this anymore, I must be creative. But it sounds like it started much younger for you, that realisation.
Yeah, kind of just in high school. Because music was always there. I learned piano from age 5, and that was something that my parents really encouraged. So it was always kind of there in this undercurrent, and that sort of branched out more and more, and one step further with all of that side of things, until I realised actually this is something that I can make a bigger and bigger part of my life, and it's kind of gone from there.
Very cool. And Sian, how about you? What makes you creative? What makes you feel the need to express yourself creatively?
Well, I was always a bit of a bookworm, and a lot of reading I used to get, really excited. It used to make me think, feel, then I'd go off and be a nerdy researcher and find out about new things, and I also had that experience from watching TV, reading plays, and I found that when I was performing, or I used to write a bit as well, if I could get that opportunity to give that to other people, so, get them thinking, get them feeling, get them having a conversation about something that they might not have known before, that just gets me so excited. And that's why I love to create, to get people talking.
It's such, I think it's such a gift to be able to change people in that way, to impact someone's life. You think it's such a small thing, but you can actually change people's thoughts and feelings, and that therefore like creates this ripple and goes out into the world. I think that's
Absolutely.
amazing.
And telling other people's stories, their story might not have been told, or other people might just not have been aware of it until you've got some sort of creative thing that can share it. That's great.
Yes, it does. It really does. Sorry, I really resonate with that whole sharing of, it's like, and that's what music used to be for me, or still is, but it's that unspoken language that everyone could connect to and communicate without the need for all these words. And
that's another thing that drives me, actually. I realised how difficult it can be to try and like make a difference to the world as an individual in so many other areas, but with telling someone else's story or telling your own story, and delivering that to people, if that resonates with them, then they will remember that forever. And that's one hell of a legacy that you can leave to someone.
I agree. Ooh, we're feeling very connected already. So leading on from that, our first topic is feeling connected to your creative work. And I suppose that is different for everyone, finding connection to the work that they create. And my thoughts were... or some questions I wanted to ask you guys were to allow you to feel connected to work that you do creatively. Does it need to be meaningful? Like, does it need to align to your personal sort of goals or morals or ethos or, guidance, compass system in your life, do you think? Or can you feel just as connected to it and liberated when it's something that's completely outside of your usual mental ethos? What do you think? How do you feel connected?
I don't think I've ever really been in a show or involved in something creatively that has been that far from my own personal beliefs. I think on the flip side of it, something that will make me feel disconnected is if the people working on it, if there's not sort of a common goal in mind, or we're not all on the same page about what we want it to be and what we sort of feel about it and our level of investment in it. But I don't think I've ever been in a situation, thankfully, so far, where I've felt super disconnected with something that I've been working on. And that's probably a blessing, and I'm sure the more things I work on, I'll find some things that would be a good answer to this question.
No, that's fine. What about you, Shan?
Look, I've always felt more connected if, when I've got a script, I've read it and gone, oh wow, that's so clever, or that's hilarious, or I've cried, or something like that. When I've read a script and gone, oh yeah, that's okay. Not sure if it's for me, but then ended up in the project anyway. I've found that I've had to work a lot harder to maintain my interest in the project. And I still always learn something, and it's still always great for personal development. But when it comes to self-indulgence, finding things that you are just super interested in and passionate about make the creative process so much easier.
Yeah. Okay. So connection, I suppose, what is connection? What do you think it is? What do you think it means to be connected to your creative work?
I have a really low attention span. So I feel like something that, connection means to me, that my thoughts will go towards that, and I'll be doing something else, and I'll just be thinking about that one thing all the time, and it'll be almost like trying to hold back a cough. You're like, this is something I need to do. This needs to happen. I need to think about this. Or if it's the middle of the night and I'm working on a song, I'll be in bed and then I'll wake up and I'll just have to do something with that. That's real connection. Or if I'm doing a show and I just need to read through the script one more time and go to check this line out, or if I'm running my lines in my head all the time,
that's how you know.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting in the car and I'll think about a certain line of dialogue and then just feel what goes along with that. And I'll just be driving along, and I'm paying full attention to the road as well. But I'll then start just dropping into that character. Yeah. Just sort of out of the blue. Yeah. And so I think if it can draw my attention, not only when I'm reading it or actively doing something with that piece of work, but also when I'm doing other things, that is real connection to me.
Yeah, okay, interesting. What about you, Shan?
I think, feeling that buzz, that need to go back to it, it never feels like a chore. You always want to do it. You might be doing something else, but you go, no, I've just got this idea, so I'm just going to go over here and tweak that instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, that constant interest, and again, that nerdiness of, oh, that's triggered off that thought, I'm going to go do that, and then, oh, no, I'm going to go do that and learn that, and then, you know, it might be a very small project, but you've gone and learned 6, 7, 8 different things just because you're feeling so invested in that project.
So the investing, where does that come from? What is that? What's that? Like I'm hearing like how you tell you're connected, but like what is it that sparks it? Do you think if it's not something that's like connected necessarily like to your goals, like why is it? Is it just because we're creative and we feel the need to express ourselves? Like
a curiosity thing.
Yeah.
There's like more to be uncovered, and like I'm picturing like an archaeologist's pit, and you see like a giant dinosaur skeleton just under the surface. And so if you look at it a little bit, you know, brush off the sand, you see a part of a dinosaur bone. Some people might be like, oh cool, I found a section of a dinosaur leg, awesome.
Yeah.
But then I think this is the sort of the thread that you're like, oh wait, there's more here. And then that's why you spend days, weeks, months in that pit just brushing off more bones until you find what you can.
I think if it evokes feeling,
yes.
you know, if it's made me furious, you know, I want to go tell the world that, you know, this is something we need to be thinking about. Or if it's intrigued me, I want to go find out more. If it's made me, you know, feel really warm and beautiful, and, you know, I want other people to feel that too.
Yeah.
And I think if it has evoked some sort of feeling or triggered some sort of thought journey, that's where I want to invest in it.
That's the connection. That's like the in. That's the I think people say that a lot about art in general, that it can be considered art as long as it makes you feel something. Even if you see it and you think that was disgusting, it's made you feel something. It's evoked something. And I think interesting. Okay, moving on. Our next topic of conversation, or chapter, if you will, is about taking that sense of feeling connected not only to your work but like-minded networks for support, or not necessarily just even for support but for sort of motivation and inspiration and that. So for you guys, do you have networks like that help you feel connected in Perth? Is there anything in particular that sort of, is there any groups or any sense of like-minded people or networks that you reach out to?
I think this is a really tricky one because creative work can be very isolating.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got that pressure to make a living as well.
Yeah.
And it's not like, you know, with a regular job, you go to the same workplace, you make your friends there, you vent about your boss or your clients or whatever. But when you're working by yourself or in a very small team for one project, you might not actually get that extended friendship with those people where you see them all the time. Yeah. So you've got to make more effort to actually catch up. And I think doing lots of classes has been great. So I've got to meet more people. And when I've been on projects, really making sure that, you know, I don't just sit there and timid and shy or anything. I make the effort to talk to people, find out about them, network. Facebook is great for that. Yeah. Those sorts of things, and then catch up. And so even if you're just chatting, you can inspire each other. Yeah,
just finding, even if it's just for a day, that common connection and feeling like there's someone else out there like you. Yeah. And I think that's what this question in particular is what inspired me to do post-traumatic stress, because I feel that same way. There's just this sense of, I don't know, isolation in a way. Like you go and you do all these wonderful things, all these wonderful people, and then you come home. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not confusing it. I'm not saying it's a loneliness. What I'm saying is it's this connection of people that are like you to connect with creatively. Like that I find quite challenging unless you're working on a project at the time. Yeah. How do you, maintain that is difficult.
Yeah, because you never really know when you do a project who you're gonna connect with. And so I find that what I always try and do is just get to know as many people in the cast, depending on the size of the show and all that kind of stuff, as possible, because you never know who you're going to have that complete spark with, and just want to keep hanging out, even just as friends, but maybe as as like a creative partnership or
Yeah.
a team or something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think when I'm in those situations, I really try and make an effort to make sure I look out for those opportunities.
Yeah.
'Cause I've made some amazing friends through shows that I've done.
Yeah.
Like my band, we met during The Wedding Singer at Limelight Theatre at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
And we will get together and we'll jam, and then sometimes we'll get together and we'll just hang out, and it's like a really good little group. And so yeah, just got to find those people and gravitate towards them.
Yeah, and make an effort to spend time with them for either support or inspiration or connection, or just someone to have a chat about and bounce ideas off and that sort of thing.
And the other side of that is, even if you're not able to find that time to hang out all the time, it's so easy to just send a Facebook message and just be like, hey, how you going?
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be, you don't have to only message people if you want something. I feel like especially in our industry, there's sometimes a bit of a connotation that if someone reaches out of the blue, they're after something.
Yeah.
If you just set a precedent of like, hey man, haven't seen you in ages, how you going?
What are you up to? What are you working on?
Yeah, exactly.
Great, love to support that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you there. I'll watch it. Yeah.
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 And it's like whenever I receive those messages, it's always such a great feeling, and it's those kind of small efforts that you can do just over time that when you find that there is an opportunity to work together again, you've still got this history. It's not like you're having to catch up or try and make parity with something that they're doing.
And it's authentic. You've got an actual relationship because you like this person and you wanted to connect with them, not just because you're thinking, like you were saying, oh, I might need this person one day, or you know.
Exactly.
And I do find I experience. I would say most people are really lovely and genuine, but there's definitely a vibe sometimes on sets. I feel you go and that can sometimes hinder the connection because you meet people and you think they're not really talking to you, they're not really there, they're sort of sussing you out, and then they move on to the next person. Do you ever experience that sometimes? Is it just me? Oh my god.
Sometimes, or I'm sitting there going, look, I hope they don't think I'm being friendly just because I want something from them. I hope that they, they realise I am actually interested. I'm not just trying to get something out of them. So sometimes that, will make me want to actually sit back and go, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't befriend them or add them on Facebook because they might think I'm stalking them or weird or... Yeah. But, I guess... a part of it is you've just got to put yourself out there anyway. Some people you'll click with, some people you won't. And unless you try, you might miss out on great friendships or great working relationships, and it's just giving it a go and not taking anything personally.
I think so too. There are some Facebook groups in Perth as well. I know there's the Perth Film Network group run by Debbie Thoy. I'm so sorry if that's not how I pronounce her last name. And also there's some classes like Annie Mehta Monks runs some, she calls them PAC, P-A-C.
Actors Collective.
And she gets actors and directors together, and that's a really good networking sort of place as well. But I'd love to hear if there's anyone listening, who has, groups that they already are a part of. I would really love to hear from you, or, please send us a tweet. And I would love post-traumatic stress to become that sort of network for people.
Something you said, Emerson, that reminded me of something I used to do. You say that you go and jam with your bandmates, and it can be a bit difficult to do that in terms of theatre, but a friend and I used to have drama jams where we just catch up and we take a monologue or a short scene and we just workshop it together. Haven't done it for ages. I really should get back into it. Drama jams, people should do that, and then that way you can work on your skills, you can build a network that you can be really honest with. Sometimes getting honest feedback is hard. That reminds me, I'm going to contact my friend,
you should do that.
Get another drama jam going.
And then I think it connects you back into that sense of creative purpose as well. And
and that can serve really well for that like routine of just doing it as a regular basis. I found with Makespace, what we were doing just recently, it's good to just go there every week and just be playing around with like-minded individuals, and you're creating something and you're just doing it every week. A lot of the time, at least I think about how I don't have time to do it, and I wish I could make more time for it, and I don't get to do it much. But then if you just make time to do it.
Yeah, there's time for your phone, there's time for, Netflix. Yeah, there's always just I think that's if you want to feel connected, just get out there. Just be nice to someone, connect with someone and ask them, hey, can we hang out? Can we do something together? Can we drama jam? Can we jam in the band? Go do a class. I agree very much. Next topic, knowing when to say no. It leads on from this, yes, get out there and do everything. We're sending you mixed messages, but when should you say no? When have you had times, if you want to share, please don't if you don't want to, but where you felt you just needed that mental rest, or perhaps it wasn't the right choice for you artistically. And I think that one's a tricky one in particular, especially if you're just starting out. You feel the need, maybe you don't, but sometimes you feel the need to say yes to everything, even if it's not in your best interests. What experience do you guys have with that, and have you said yes to too many things? Do you say no to too many things? Do you do everything and never say no? What's it like for you?
Yeah, this is a good question for me, because I did Wedding Singer end of 2017. That's when I decided I wanted to actually pursue this as much as I could. And so last year, 2018, I just tried to do show after show after show, and a show would be wrapping up, and then I'd audition for another show, and then I'd start that, and it was just this big daisy chain. And then so by the end of the year, I was pretty burnt out.
Yeah.
And then in that time as well, there was like a few shows where I was still wanting to challenge myself, and I did have goals for things as well. Like I had done a lot of musicals, so I wanted to try just a straight play. And also I wanted to keep challenging myself, so I was aiming for like principal roles were available. So I had to have a few kind of just real introspective moments where I was choosing between doing a musical that could have been like a larger part or a straight play, and I had to sort of say no to the musical because I knew that what I needed to do next was a play.
Yeah.
And also just there was another musical that I sort of had the opportunity to do that was seeming like it would be a very big time commitment and sort of like a bit more sporadic as well, so it'd be a bit of a rush around.
Yeah.
And I sort of knew what I wanted that didn't really align with what I wanted. And in that one as well, I think it was a chorus role, and I was really wanting to, if I was going to have that sort of time commitment, I wanted to go for more of a lead role. And so that was a real tricky thing, because I felt like a bit of a dick.
It's fine.
Being like, well, I don't want to be one of those people who just turns down the small roles and does the lead roles.
Yeah.
But in that case, I knew that if I was going to be committing that level of time, I wanted to have as much time on the stage as possible.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about saying no, is just really introspecting and being honest with yourself and saying, does this, it's going to be cheesy, but does this spark joy?
It's so true. That applies to everything.
Refund your life.
Yeah, not just tidying up, but does it spark joy in your mind as well? Tidying up the mind. Yeah.
There's been a couple of shows where I've thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm going to do this show, but then there's just no joy behind that. It's a bit of a chore to think about. And so for those shows, I just turn down auditions or anything.
Yeah.
And it's tricky when your goals are things like the size of the role, or well, not the size of the role, but just the outcome of that being the amount of time you'd actually get to do the thing being acting. And so it can be tricky to turn those down because of the perception of how it may look.
Yeah. And you want to say no, but you don't want to ruin your relationship with someone, and
exactly.
then are they going to ask you to do work again? And it's that balance between giving yourself permission, which I think you should. I think we should all feel the ability to say no and not have that have a repercussion later for chances of more work. But what about you, Sean?
Well, I used to have a very hard time saying no, to the point where I was physically run down all the time and sick, and I even fell asleep driving my car. It's because I just exactly, that was a big wake up call. I need to start saying no. Yeah. But I think Yeah, one of the things was I was scared of missing out on learning opportunities, and the big one was letting people down. And as you said, that reputation. But I think if you say yes to everything, people can actually start to take advantage of you as well.
Yes.
And you know, you need to think about when something comes your way, you need to think about, you know, is this good for your creative journey and career? Are you learning from it? Is it worthwhile for the connections you'll make? Is there that financial benefit? And if not, you know, does it have all the other benefits instead? And yeah, are you actually interested in it? Do you think you'll enjoy it? And it comes down to sometimes the people you're working with, how organised it might be at the very beginning. And, you know, we all get very worried about saying no, but I think if you make sure you do it early and you make sure you're polite, you know, you don't go in and go, look, you're just so disorganised, it's terrible, I'm getting a really bad vibe, I'm out of here, guys.
Peace.
You know, you go say, I wish I could be involved, you know, I really like this idea, but for me at this time, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to work with you in the future.
Yeah.
And I think when people have said no to me, I've not actually gone, oh, I hate them, I'm never going to work with them again.
Yeah.
I've gone, okay, no, I respect that, because next time I work with them, they'll be able to put their all into it.
Yeah.
I think if you say no to someone in a polite way early on, they're going to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And if they're not, that might be more of a reflection on them.
Yes.
You know, it's the way the creative industry is. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what, quite often there's another person that's going to be better suited to that role anyway. It's if you think you can't put your all into it, someone else is going to be able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, you've got to be honest with yourself there and be honest with the team there. Because I've had to, with this year, knowing that I'll be studying 4 nights a week and then Saturdays on top of my day job, I had a couple of shows lined up and I just had to be like, I'm really sorry, like I'd love to do this show, but I just will not have the time, and you need someone who has the time and who can actually give their all to it. And those are situations where I would love to work with those people again, and I feel like because I sort of nip that in the bud and manage the expectations early, I feel like I could down the track say, hey, like I'm more available now, let's work together.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had have left it and tried to make it work and tried to spin on this plate at the same time, then I would have just ruined relationships.
You could have done more damage to your reputation than if you just said no in the first place.
And affected your confidence, because your performance wouldn't have been probably as it should have been, and you know it would have been, well, for me anyway, usually if I run things too much, I don't give the best, and then that is a big deal for me, being a bit of a perfectionist. You go home and you're like, oh, that's terrible, and it's just... Yeah, I think saying no is a really healthy thing if, like you say, you do it in the right way. And also something that we didn't mention is saying no if you feel unsafe. I think you should always look at a project, or if you just think it just doesn't align to who I am, it's okay. That's okay. Like, don't feel judged. I know I've been asked to do projects sometimes that maybe involved nudity, or they involved whatever. And if you're comfortable with that, that's wonderful. You go ahead and you do that. But I just want to make that really clear for anyone who's listening. Just always, if you feel unsafe in any way, men and women, just say no. And that's okay. And if they, like you were saying before, if they're making you feel like it's not okay, it's definitely about them. You know, that is everyone's right as a creative person or as an artist to feel safe in their work environment and make choices that they feel that they can work in safely and ethically, and whatever it is that's going on for them mentally. So, okay. I'm conscious that we're going over time, but I was really enjoying that conversation. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about the two of you, and is there anything coming up that we should know about that's really important? Do you have any YouTube channels that we should know about? Any handles? Tell us about you so we can check you out and look you up.
Well, I don't have any shows coming up this year, but funny you should mention YouTube channels.
It's almost as if I set it up.
Oh, it's crazy. I have one that I semi-regularly use, which is Emerson Brophy. If you just search for me on YouTube, you'll be able to find me.
How do we spell Emerson Brophy?
Emerson Brophy.
Brophy.
Yes, Trophy with a B. Also, I'm on Instagram with that. Like, it's a pretty good name for SEO. So
great. We will check you out. What kind of things will we see on there?
You'll find a few covers of things. Like on Instagram, I'll just do like a 1-minute cover of something if I have a burning need to do that. And then on YouTube, I've got a few originals. One of my New Year's resolutions was to release more of my originals because they're currently just getting dusty in hard drives somewhere.
Excellent.
Yeah, and some of them are kind of goofy and some of them are kind of serious, and they'll be on there at some point throughout the year, I guess.
We should check that out, and I'll make sure I link that. What am I trying to say? Post Dramatic Stress also has Instagram and YouTube and things, and I will make sure I link your things to those things, so that if people go and search there, they can find said things. Shan, how about you? Anything you'd like to mention?
I'm a bit behind with social media, so that's probably something I need to look into.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I don't actually have a project I'm completely involved with it at the moment. I'm starting to get a bit itchy, actually. I'm going to have to find something. Although in March, I'll start rehearsals for a show coming up at Subiaco Arts Centre.
Excellent.
So,
do we know what that one is?
It's not all been made official yet. So
we can let us know later, and we
see
can
every show at Subiaco.
Just go and see them.
And Shan will be in them. See more shows.
Yeah.
Someone I know called Jessica Brooke is in a show called Shrine by Tim Winton at the moment at the Melville Theatre, and that's on until March 2nd.
The other night.
Was it wonderful?
Really good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Really good. Very worth seeing. Absolutely.
Great. I'm going to make a point to see that this week, which is why I'm saying it on here, so that I'm accountable. Please, we've got one more question left. So each week I'm hoping, this is only episode 2, so we're still building followers, but our handles on Twitter are at @dramatic_post. Instagram is at postdramaticstresspod, and our email address is postdramaticstresspod@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from anyone that resonates with the show or wants to ask a question or just wants to connect and touch base. Please do so via those handles. And our question that we've received via Twitter this week is when was a time that you felt most connected to your work? Do you guys have anything that you could share on that question?
I think I've felt most connected to my work when I have read the script and I've spent the first, second, third time bawling like a baby, and wanting to go back to it over and over again, and then being involved in the project, the people that you work with, and not just that particular performance, but other performances and projects. It's been about the people I've worked with. If you've got a good team that you know you can get on with and everyone's pitching in ideas, building each other up, building on from a basic idea, I think that's when I felt most connected and invested and just buzzy.
Yeah. You're all on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that does remind me of one of my times, which would have been The Wedding Singer, because everyone was so invested in that and it was such a fun time, and there was no backstage drama. There was no egos. It was all just everyone working together to put on a great show, and it's so infectious. Like I have the song stuck in my head all the time. I'd want to just update everyone in the Facebook groups all the time, and it was a real tight-knit community for that a few months of that rehearsal process for that show. So that's one time of a lot of connection. And then on the songwriting side of it, I wrote a cheesy parody Christmas song most recently, and that song, it's one of those situations where everything I was doing, it was in my head. I'd be thinking of lyrics at work, and I'd have to get out the note-taking app and just update them. There were so many other things I should have been focusing on at that time, but I would just stay up late thinking of lyrics for this song, and then my housemate and I ended up filming it, and so kind of took over the house for one weekend where we filmed it all, and it was just something that I really like lovingly just swam in for that week.
Yeah, I like that. I like that analogy. We should definitely check that out. Where can we find that? Is it still on Facebook or is it on YouTube?
That's on the YouTube channel.
Okay, we will. Yeah, you should definitely check that out. It is hilarious.
It really is.
Even though it's Christmassy, everyone loves Christmas all time of year. So please go and check that out because it is delightful. I'm conscious that we really have gone over time. It's at the 35-minute mark, so I'm going to wrap us up. But it's just been so lovely talking to you both. It's just been a really great conversation for me anyway. So hopefully for the people listening and hopefully for the two of you, thank you so very much for coming and giving me your time. I appreciate it so much. And that's the end of episode 2.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to Post-Dramatic Stress. To connect with us or to register to come on the podcast, visit us at www.lettingcharlotteout.com or email us via postdramaticstresspod@gmail.com.